I decided to wing it. So we'll see how that goes. I was born and raised in Fayetteville, North Carolina. I am the middle child. Is anyone in here the middle child? One thing about being the middle child is that you get hand-me-downs. And you don't know what real clothes are like until you get a job and then you can buy them yourself. I experienced hand-me-downs until I was 18 years old. That's when I got a job and went to work and was able to buy my own clothes. My mom says that's not true, but I remember getting clothes that had grass stains on them and other type of stains. Fast forward to high school. I graduated from high school. I went to Winston-Salem State. Attended Winston-Salem State up until my junior year, and my parents separated. And I was not there when they separated, but I can imagine that, excuse me, on the table there were all these things that they were dividing up. And my college tuition was one of them. So mom takes this, dad takes that, and college tuition kind of stays on the table. So my junior year, I dropped out and moved into a very bad neighborhood where bad people did bad things. I did not want to leave the Triad area. I wanted to stay here because I wanted to go back to school. Got a job, moved in with a roommate. Anybody ever had a roommate? Oh, man. Moved in with my roommate in a bad neighborhood where people did bad things, and I realized that my roommate was one of those bad people who did bad things. Eye-opener. Welcome to life, Robert Richardson. So I decided then that this is not the life for me. I don't want to be a bad person. I don't want my roommate stealing my stuff. So I got a real job, as real as I could get with just 3 years of a college education. Got a real job and went back to school. And when I went back to school to Winston-Salem State, I wasn't really feeling it. I had grown up a little bit for the school, I thought. So I enrolled at High Point University. And when I enrolled at High Point University, my first major was education. I've always loved the English language. So I was going to be an English teacher in high school. Realized that when it came down to doing my student teaching, I don't know if I want to do this. Because you can't hit the kids. You can't hit the kids. And you can't hit the kids. So I am trying to help middle-aged kids with their English. And if you think it's bad now, you should have heard it then. Because I think, in my opinion, it was even worse then. Words were just being torn up, and you tried to help kids, and they weren't getting it, they weren't trying to understand it. So I kind of threw up my hand and said, I cannot be a teacher. I was very disappointed in myself because I am not a quitter. But that was something I could not do because it was coming. I knew it was going to happen. So the job that I had, I was working for a pharmaceutical company, and I was a supervisor. I was talking to my mentor, and he said, hey, you know, I know you really like education, you want to work with kids, but you're a great leader. You're very good. I was 23, 24, and I was leading folks that were 45 and above, and they looked up to me, believe it or not. I treated them with respect. We had a great rapport, very good relationship. My boss suggested that I look into doing something in the management field. So, looked at High Point University. I was still enrolled. I was still in school. Still going. They had a great and growing management program. So, I invested my time in that. And I ended up graduating. Yay! I graduated. While I was going to school full-time at night, I was also a supervisor during the day. I married my wife. She and I had been dating through the bad time that I went through. She stuck with me. I graduated on my job. I got promoted shortly thereafter. Now, let me time this out for a minute and tell you that I had dreadlocks. I had dreadlocks that were probably down to my waist. I had worn them for a very long time. One of the things I realized is that the world was not ready for me. Because I could do a phone screen and everyone would be, oh man, you know, we got to get you to come out here to Memphis so we can meet you. And I would walk in the door and be like, who the are you? Well, I'm the same guy that you just talked to on the phone. I got turned down several times. Not because of the interview, but because of the way I looked. So I went to the barbershop and I got my hair cut off. And I've been, wearing like this ever since. Fast forward a little bit further, the job that I'm on, I get relocated several times. I'm I'm doing well. I'm making a lot of changes. This company's really proud. I moved to Houston, Texas with my wife, and we had a daughter. We had a child. Moved to Houston, Texas. From Houston, Texas, we moved to Phoenix, Arizona. Opened a 500,000 square foot distribution center down there, Phoenix, Arizona. Loved it. Didn't love the heat, but loved Phoenix. Stayed in Phoenix for a while. From Phoenix, they said, hey, you want to come out to Lubbock, Texas? We've got some things going on. Where the world is Lubbock, Texas at? Oh, it's over there. We'll pay you. Well, then I'll go. So me and my wife and my daughter, we moved to Lubbock, Texas. Stayed in Lubbock, Texas for a good while. And my mother-in-law got sick. So my wife was coming back and forth between North Carolina and Lubbock, Texas. My wife came to me one day and she said, look, Mom's sick. I don't know how long she's going to be around. Me and the baby, we're going to North Carolina. And she packed up and she left. Not that I was doing anything wrong or she was unhappy, but she wanted to be with her mother just in case her mom checked out. And I totally understood. 90 days, my wife's gone, I'm there by myself, this ain't working. This is not happening. I go tell my boss, hey, listen, man, I'm going to have to do something different. He tries to help me find a transfer to North Carolina, but it's unsuccessful. And he tells me, hey, listen, you've been great. I understand you're going to do what you have to do. He was very supportive. And I walked out the door on faith and found the job at Polo Ralph Lauren. I can say that at Polo Ralph Lauren, it is the best job I've had in my life. And I have had some crummy jobs. This job gives me the work-life balance that I have never had before. I only work maybe 50 hours a week compared to the 70 or 80 that I used to work. I do not work on weekends. Man, that's great. Because I came from a food industry, pharmaceutical background where everything happens on the weekend. Whereas in retail, it happens Monday through Friday, and the salespeople work on the weekend. So I enjoy that aspect of it. Me and my wife, we've been back in North Carolina for 6 years now. We are happy to be here. My mother-in-law is doing well. I think that whenever I got here, she just sprung up like, my boy's home. She was very happy. I get to see my mother and my father quite often now, as often as I want to. We still talk about the divorce and how my education kind of fell by the wayside because of decisions that were made, but they're glad that I came through it. All in all, I am very happy to be back in High Point, North Carolina, and I am glad to be a Toastmaster. Thank you.
Thank you.